Thank you, Father Kelly, Father Becker, Reverend Father, any honored guests, and my brothers. My vocation story starts out during the early years of my elementary school at St. Stephen's Parish. During the school, masses often saw the priests as larger-than-life heroes, with their prop-filled homilies and their seemingly mystical actions during Mass, even in the midst of my daydreams, often about fighting ninjas or something like that. My impressions of priests and the priesthood were solidified during this time, and I kind of saw it as like a feasible option in some way. I thought the priests were just cool, they're just the cool guys, the good guys. But I still had no idea what the priest did outside of Mass. Nevertheless, as I kind of grew up, my interest in the priesthood diminished, with my desires of being an army man or a doctor or something of the like taking priority. And also during this time, going to the elementary school and the middle school at St. Stephen's, I kind of became what is called sacramentalized, not evangelized. So I knew the teachings about the church, I knew about Jesus and certain facts, but I didn't have Jesus in my heart. I really didn't care, about going to Mass. I didn't like going to Mass in general, and I didn't want to do any, I didn't want to just love Jesus. Which is kind of sad, just seeing in that Catholic education, my parents believed that I'd be getting all out of my faith that I needed by just going to a Catholic school, and no home, education. In light of this, my faith life radically changed once I hit high school, in a sense that I came from a very small Catholic school, St. Stephen's, foreign students, and the total K through 8, to one of the largest high schools in the state, public high schools. So it had about 3,000 students, and the culture was very different. And most of my friends went to other Catholic schools or they lived somewhere else. So I felt very alone. And during this time, a lot of people, once they hit high school, they want to identify themselves with something. The jocks, the nerds, the band, whatever, what have you. But I identified with my Catholic faith. I said I was Catholic, so I began looking up facts, learning how to evangelize, in a sense of learning how to argue with other people, like ourselves as being budding philosophers. So often I would do this by looking up on Catholic answers, stay up till midnight, and learning the answers to every question about our faith. But even in this, I still would consider myself as an empty tabernacle. I had the arguments, I kind of, exemplified faith in some way, but I didn't have Jesus in my heart. I rarely prayed. It was very basic, very brief, and it was really just an outside thing, kind of an aggressive kind of thing. Nevertheless, it all changed one day in my junior year. During Mass, the priest at the time, Father Nathan Liberté, had cards to fill out if you're interested in the priesthood at all, or any, vocation. I had no intention of filling them out. I was kind of set. I was thinking of doing, ROTC and being a Marine officer. I just love the military and everything about it. But like any good mother, my mom forced me to fill it out. So after talking to Father Nathan after Mass, he offered for me to visit the local seminary on a VNE visit right here. And I reluctantly accepted, as you'd guess, with my mother's prodding. Nevertheless, what I remember most about the driving to St. John Vianney was the intense anxiety that I felt, not knowing anything about this. I don't think up to that point I've ever met a seminarian, so I had no idea what to conceive. Sometimes people conceive them as, kind of nerdish or really book smart. At this point, I had still no idea what a seminarian was, so I wasn't even that far. But there's a huge shift in my own heart. Once I walked through the doors of SJV, I was warmly greeted right away. My bags were taken up, and I vividly remember my assigned seminarian named Zachary R. Gruber. Priest might remember who he is, but he acted like an older brother to me. In his very, very outgoing and extroverted personality, he'd bring me around, show me, all these things, bring me, just everywhere. And I've just felt very loved. And that really affected my heart deeply. I learned to really love the fraternity on my first Vianney visit. I learned to love the schedule, the routine, even having to wake up early. I still think it's worth it. And just holiness. I desired holiness in my own heart at that point. To desire, love Christ on a deeper level than just learning the facts about the church and how to argue, the beliefs. And I guess with that, from that moment on, I had a powerful desire to experience Christ. It allowed me to be where I am today in this vocation, trying to figure out God's will for me. But I encourage all of you brothers, the impact of the Vianney visit, my first Vianney visit, put me right here today. Without that, I would have never, considered priesthood as a valid option. And it's really God's way of bringing me back to Him, showing that love. One quote I've heard from Chesterton, I believe is Father Brown's stories, is kind of the twitch upon a thread. So God finds ways to pull us back to Him. Even if we're falling away or we're not there, He always finds a way to bring us back. And that was my own experience coming here on the VNE visit. But I encourage you, thinking back on our own VNE visit we just had, the impact that you had on other people, and to see, these are one little thing you could do for them that could change their hearts completely, like it did mine, and completely shift their way around, focusing on Christ instead of the things of the world. Praise be Jesus Christ.
Amen.